Part two. Okay, no, I was talking to, they're going to have a meeting with the Minister of Social Development, Susan Stokes or something
Yes.
like that. Like she said, she was pretty stern, I guess, where staff want to cut. Well, we're going to start by cutting no more water coolers. You know, you want water? Bring your own water. Why do we need water coolers? Something, you know, like, and I didn't, like, blackberries. Everybody has a blackberry. What's wrong with giving them a couple of quarters? And, you know, just people are spoiled.
Yeah, we asked them, the unions, one of the unions, CUPE, put it forward on Friday, a very good suggestion, that they take the bottled water out of the government buildings. You know, bottled water is unregulated, and water is actually more expensive than gasoline in this province when you think of what you pay for a 10-ounce bottle of water. And we all have perfectly clean, good water, public water that is paid for through taxes. You just got to turn the tap on. And so the idea of removing bottled water and have government employees drink tap water, that's perfect. I mean, that's good for the environment. It's good for you know, the services that are already provided. So there's a lot of little pieces of expenses. You know, in the hospital system, there's you know, an example like there's particular latex gloves that in particular areas of the hospital that as soon as you open the box, the whole box is contaminated. So why have boxes of 150 and 6 pairs of gloves are worn? Then you got to throw the whole box out.
Was that discussed during the meeting?
That was brought up.
What else? What else was discussed?
Well, buying local. You know, here in the province.
By Irving?
Well, buying apples from Mactaquac and Keswick Ridge instead of buying apples from New Zealand. You know, the Moosehead Breweries has 6% of the market share in this province. 30 years ago, they had 80%. It's a beer made here in New Brunswick. Buying from local farmers, buying at farmers markets. You know, that helps the economy, and that will stimulate in the long term, you know, better jobs, more jobs in the province. And it's just something that has been taken away, and we've been conditioned to believe that we have to buy our stuff that's made elsewhere. And we've got good products right here in the province. So that was one of the suggestions. Certainly raising the taxes back to where they were. And this isn't going
That's twice you said that.
Yeah, well, it's not going to hurt the middle class or the lower income and the poor. What it's going to do is it's going to be more progressive and a more fair tax. The more you make, the more you should pay. And corporate taxes as well. We have the lowest corporate taxes in the province. We don't have that doesn't create jobs. We actually have a net loss of jobs. So that's been suggested. As well, you know, there's money that goes out to businesses from the government. And there's nothing wrong with the government, and this was talked about on Friday, that, you know, the province of New Brunswick doesn't have to be the Bank of New Brunswick. And businesses coming in, and large businesses coming in and demanding taxpayers' money to help them in their business. Nothing wrong with legitimate loans, but there's no accountability. There's no audit done. You know, all we hear as taxpayers is that, well, it costs us $70 million to bail out the Caisse Populaire and shipping it, or it costs $70 million with AdCon. You know, why wasn't the due diligence done ahead of time?
How come we haven't heard no more from AdCon? Is it because the old famous line is in front of the courts, we can't comment on it? Or?
Yeah, I know that there's a conflict of interest hearing going on here in this province right now, in this city, you know, with respect to the AdCon dealings. So that there is things that are occurring, but they're just not happening in the media.
No, how come?
Well, I think there's, I'd like to think that they'd like to get it all finished, you know, before they report piecemeal, but maybe it's because there's no interest in the public media of having that story released at this point in time.
Are you trying to say that maybe Mr. Well, I almost said it. The guy that owns all the newspapers know somebody from AdCon?
Oh, I don't know that, but AdCon received, up to $70 million of taxpayers'
I know.
money, and we got nothing in return for it. Every year, the province of New Brunswick, on average, has given $200 million to businesses, and there are legitimate loans to be made. There are some companies, however, that are being helped out that are they're obsolete. They can't compete. Their market is just doesn't exist, and we keep them going. Taxpayers keep them going, and it's not really the job of taxpayers to do that. The job of taxpayers is to provide the government to provide essential services. And growing the economy is critical. We need the business community to step in. But there needs to be, as a taxpayer, I'd like to know where that money is going and why it went there. And as it goes out the door, there should be an audit at the end of the year as to whether or not the companies were successful in creating those jobs. And perhaps there should be tax credits for successful companies, not simply money given to them.
Okay, part 2.